Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Humanity has never advanced by asking innovation to survive on idealism alone. Because history shows that technologies that transform civilization were never sustained by merely noble intentions to help mankind. Electricity, internet, modern medicines, they all required an enormous infrastructure, long-term investment, and financial sustainability. They need great funding to hold on, to help the people. And today, artificial intelligence is on the same boat as them. The opposition firmly believes that AI cannot survive on idealism and good intentions alone. Good morning, honorable panels, respected government team, and my fellow debaters that are present in the House today. Here I stand before you to challenge government's flawed case that has been presented earlier on the motion. This House regrets OpenAI's transition toward a for-profit structure. However, I can agree on one thing that proposition stated, and that is profit incentives can create pressure for companies to move faster, to innovate faster. Although proposition failed to point one crucial thing, and that is how it will harm more people when AI becomes inaccessible for them. And by that reason alone, we as the opposition are proud to oppose today's motion. Hence, that is why we will explain to you in a moment why we will win this debate. Before I go on to my two arguments, I would like to posit two main points regarding government's invalid case, which first, proposition claimed that the stakeholders of the investment are non-profit board, and second, proposition claimed there will be an absence of equity financing, which I will elaborate later, and I'll explain my argument later too. Our deputy leader of opposition will rebut and explain why we have the delta in this debate, and our opposition whip will sum up all of this debate. Moving on to the two main points I'd like to posit about the government's flawed case, and that is first, proposition claimed that the stakeholders of the investments are non-profit board. Here is the thing. If the non-profit boards still maintains oversight, then this transition is not a full-blown abandonment of the pro-socialist ethics. What OpenAI changed is not its goal or mission, but its funding mechanism. The government assumed that any form of investment or funding is crossing the line, and how OpenAI changed into a technology that can be monetized and exclusive to those who can afford. But in reality, hybrid structures exist precisely for balancing innovation and public accountability. This is important because first, they claim for-profit orientation is dangerous for the people, but the non-profit oversight is exactly why the transition is safe and can be held accountability by the people who want transparency. Second, proposition claimed that there will be an absence of equity financing. OpenAI did not become a normal unrestricted corporation. It became public benefit corporation, in which a traditional corporation is legally pressured to maximize shareholder value above all else. However, public benefit corporation is different. Public benefit corporation allow companies to pursue both A, profit, and B, public interest goal at the same time. So what does this mean? This means OpenAI still retains first, non-profit oversight, 2, safety commitment to ethics, 3, public benefit obligation. The assumption made by the government is simply flawed because for-profit doesn't automatically make them a ruthless monopoly industry. Pure non-profits may struggle to scale without the proper funding, and pure corporations may ignore ethics. Hence, this is why a hybrid structure is needed to attempt to solve both problems simultaneously, aka the one we are talking about right now. Let's move on to my two arguments that I want to posit earlier. Without for-profit structures, AI becomes less accessible to ordinary people. Commercialization doesn't always mean exclusion. To ordinary people who need to use AI daily, this will become a greater issue. Innovation needs funding to become a greater tool. Advanced technology and innovation that lacks scalability creates an even greater exclusion for people. Let's see the issue with Microsoft that spends over $100 billion to create more servers in OpenAI so that people can access more. This proves that AI needs big funding to innovate. Non-profit is a shortcut to less innovation and bankruptcy. If OpenAI remained purely non-profit and financially limited, first, I will explain to you the impact. First, there will be less servers for people, less researchers that wants to collab because they get nothing, slower innovation, reduced public access, and etc. And if this happens, there will be a possibility that it will be monopolized by giant technology industry, wealthy government, and etc. Ordinary people will have less access, not more. As an example, AI is now a daily use tool. They are used in daily lives. Millions of students use it to learn new things in a few minutes, helping them to understand better in just a few clicks of keyboards. That is why OpenAI needs to maintain their for-profit structure. Ladies and gentlemen, we agree that AI will disrupt certain traditional jobs because throughout history, technological advancement has always transformed a labor market slowly. However, the government fails to prove why this harm uniquely comes from OpenAI changing their structure rather than from AI development generally. Because if we are talking about the people that are losing jobs, then we are talking about a more different motion. We are talking about the development of AI, but in this debate, we are talking about OpenAI's transition toward a for-profit structure. We are not talking about AI development here. We are talking specifically about OpenAI transition to a for-profit structure. Financially sustainable AI companies are more capable of helping workers adapt and can create a larger work field for them who actually are great, are masters in this field. This will attract large-scale companies because first, they can invest in AI education and training, servers accessibility, public benefit tools, and etc. Hence, that is why we are proud to oppose today's motion. We are proud to oppose today's motion, which is, I once again will repeat, this House regrets OpenAI's transition toward a for-profit structure. Ladies and gentlemen, OpenAI needs this structure. That is our reason. Thank you.